Now, as I get my blood pressure checked, I want you to come along with me on this thought process. Look down at the body that you have, wherever you may be. Just take 1 second and look down at your body. Realize that this is the one body that you were born with, and it will stay with you until you end your life, until your life ends. Now, because that is that one body we're going to have forever, realize how important it is to take care of it, to maintain a healthy lifestyle with the food that we put into our bodies and the exercise that we are required to do. Take care of that one body because it's the only one that you have.
We're here today to speak to you about Ramadan and type 1 diabetes. As you know, type 1 diabetes is highly common in Kuwait. We're the second highest incidence in the type 1 diabetes after Finland. It is well known that people with type 1 diabetes shouldn't fast Ramadan, according to the International Diabetes Federation statistics and according to the Islamic law. However, we know many of the type 1 diabetes wish to fast in Ramadan. There are certain areas that we should not at all consider fasting because we know if we fast during Ramadan and have type 1 diabetes, we will jeopardize our health and put us at health risks. So who are the people shouldn't fast if you have type 1 diabetes during Ramadan? If you had uncontrolled type 1 diabetes, and that's if your HbA1c over 8%, I would say take it with caution. If your A1C, that's your, the 3 months control, over the past 3 months, over than 10%, then I would not probably consider fasting at all. If you had any hospital admissions in the last 3 months, whether it's a high blood sugar or low blood sugar, you should not fast. So if you had any admission with diabetic ketoacidosis or with hypoglycemia, that's low blood sugar, then we should not fast at all in Ramadan because this will be a safety issue that we should not put ourselves at risk. I know many of us would like to fast when we have type 1 diabetes, but then we have to think of the health benefit risk ratios. So if we had any past admission in the past 3 months, hypo or hyper, that is high blood sugar or low blood sugar, then we should not fast. If you cannot sense the low blood sugar, and in medical terms, you might see this a lot in the literature, it's about hypoglycemia unawareness. So you do not feel your low blood sugars at normal level. So if you cannot sense your low blood sugars at a level of 3.5 millimole or 4 millimole, then you should not fast because you might go low during fasting and you would not detect it at all. Then if you had any kidney disease, any diseases with the eyes, that's retinopathy, or any other diseases that's abnormalities in your blood test, then we should not fast. Also, you have to consider this year, we have a long hour of fasting, so we put our risk at dehydration. So please make sure that you're well maintained with fluids and hydrate well. So these are the conditions that you should not fast, and you should only consider fasting after discussion with your healthcare professional. So even if you're considering fasting and you're a bit, not too sure whether to fast or not, I would advise you to consider it, discussing it earlier on with your healthcare professionals, that is either your doctor or your diabetes nurse or with your educators. Probably many of us are scared to go and ask them because they might come and say to tell you, no, you should not fast. So you should really put your feelings up and think, why do you want to fast and what would be the risks if I fast or not? We have a large program in Dasman. It's called the Daphne program. That is the dose adjustment for normal eating. This is offered for all type 1 diabetes in Kuwait. And I'll let you know more about it after the break. Welcome back, and thank you for staying tuned with us. So, what is it all about the Daphne program? Just to reiterate, Daphne is the dose adjustment for normal eating. It is the large type 1 diabetes education program that is currently in Kuwait. Dasman Diabetes Center is the only endorsed training center in the world for the Middle East after Germany, UK, New Zealand, Australia, Ireland and Singapore. So if you want to enroll in the Daphne program, any type 1 diabetes in the whole of Kuwait can enroll into the Daphne program. All what you need to do is you send an email to daphne@dasmaninstitute.org. When you send an email, you just send your details and you can be enrolled in the Daphne program. Why is it important? Because the Daphne program in Kuwait has developed a special course that can allow people with type 1 diabetes to fast during Ramadan. Actually, this year, our group from the Dasman Diabetes Institute, led by Dr. Dalal Al-Saeed, were able to have an oral presentation at the Diabetes UK to share all people's experiences in people who had type 1 diabetes fasting during Ramadan. So this structured education program is developed for the type 1 diabetes who are willing to fast in Ramadan and to keep them safe in Ramadan fasting. But as I said, not everyone can fast, and we really need to avoid fasting if we have a high risk in hypoglycemia or hyperglycemia or any complications of the type 1 diabetes, whether it's your eyes, whether it's your kidneys, or we have any end-stage diseases. What is important? We really need to keep checking our blood sugars. There are so many platforms that we can use for checking blood sugars. All new meters and many devices today that can help us to check the blood glucose and how we can keep it safe. We will have other, episodes about checking blood glucose and when should we check. But at the minimum, you have to check at least, while you're fasting and every 2 hours during your fast and during Ramadan or any time that you do it during the year. So you have to check at iftar, you have to check 2 hours after futur, you have to check any time that we take a snack, 2 hours after the snack, before suhoor, and then while we're fasting, at least when you get up, and then every 2 to 3 hours with their prayer times and in between, because we might go low blood sugar and we don't sense it. So that's the only way we can check to know if we can feel it and to keep safe in fasting. The same thing, if your blood sugar goes up, you need to check for ketones. If it goes up above 16, then you really need to break your fast and not to jeopardize your health. If your blood sugar drops below 4, I would advise you all to stop fasting and break your fast. I know many of you might say, oh, it's only 15 minutes to, the futur time, but you don't want to keep your health at risk. So even these 15 minutes are very important for your health. And remember, Islamic law tells you you should not fast and keep your health hazard to fasting. So even the 15 minutes, do not wait, break your fast, enjoy it, and probably if you want to attempt next time. Thank you all, and happy fasting to all of you.
So as we've already mentioned, we're all born with one body that we live with our entire lives. And with that in mind, there's no place to go get spare parts or a magic fix for any health issue that we may be suffering from. And so always remember to get your healthy body checkups done, just like I did. Now, don't worry, my blood pressure is fine, and so I urge you to make sure that yours is as well. And with that, also always remember to make the healthiest decisions when it comes to food and working out. So I urge you right now to go grab a cup of water, drink that water down, and also go on a walk. While you're at it, also bring along some company so you can spread those healthy vibes.